What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel.
Let's start it out with the huge titanic matchup between Alabama and LSU, reminiscent of 2011 in Tuscaloosa, when LSU went into Bryant-Denny Stadium and won 9-6. This game will most likely not be 9-6, but LSU won it on a field goal in overtime, 9-6. But of course, the Crimson Tide got the last laugh in 2011, winning the national championship with a lot of time for Nick Saban to prepare. 21-0 with A.J. McCarron at quarterback. Alabama winning the 2011 national championship, and it's all been tied in this SEC Western Division rivalry since Alabama has swept LSU ever since that 9-6 game in Tuscaloosa 8 years ago. So when we match up Alabama and LSU, we know that we basically have just a complete transformation of offenses. First for Alabama under Tua Tagovailoa, and the passing game that has emerged, the prolific passing game downfield with all the playmakers on this Alabama offense, how it's gone from game manager, run the ball first, play action downfield, to let's sling it all over the place, let's spread people out, let's use our speed and athleticism, and let's go for the jugular, nonstop, up-tempo, throw the ball most of the time, let the running game benefit from the passing game and not vice versa. LSU, of course, under Joe Brady coming in from the New Orleans Saints, has taken the same approach and with great impact. Right now in total offense in the nation, LSU ranks 4th at 536 yards per game, despite playing some tough defenses in, most notably and most recently, Auburn. Alabama's 9th in total offense at 507. So our question is, who has the better offense in this matchup, LSU or Alabama? If we go back 1 year, we basically had very similar personnel on the field for both teams, and Alabama was significantly better on both sides of the ball, but especially on offense, in winning in Death Valley 29-0. But we know that this LSU offense, even despite having much of the same personnel, is just a completely different deal here in 2019. LSU ranks 2nd in the nation in pass offense. Alabama's at number 5. In rushing, the rush game for both of these teams has taken a back seat to the furthest degree. Alabama averaging 168 yards per game on the ground. And again, that's out of 507 total. LSU just 158 yards per game on the ground out of 536. So playing in the same division, you would think that we would have a lot of common opponents to compare these two offenses to say, okay, who performed better against the same defenses within the division? But the way the schedule plays out, Alabama and LSU have yet to face a common opponent. They will face 5 total, but LSU has already taken on Auburn and Mississippi State, and they've got Arkansas coming up. Alabama's already taken on Arkansas, winning that game 48-7, and they've already played Ole Miss in particular. They have yet to play Auburn, of course, in the Iron Bowl, and Mississippi State. So these teams have not faced a common opponent, despite that total being 5. You would think that that would be near impossible based on the schedule, but that's how it maps out the rest of the season. And of course, they faced different teams out of the SEC Eastern Division. All right. I think we've got to consider, though, if we look at the performance against the schedule, that LSU has faced much tougher defenses to date. Week 2, they went to Austin, took on Texas. The Texas Longhorns have taken on a number of injuries since then and maybe underachieved despite the injuries. But that was a top 15 to 20 defense in terms of talent that LSU faced. And of course, Joe Burrow and the Tigers ripped them up for 45 points in that one and well over 500 yards of total offense. And that, again, was a healthy and talented Texas defense with plenty of elite 4 and 5 stars on the defense. LSU's toughest defense to date that they've taken on and excelled against would, of course, be Florida. 42-28 win in Death Valley a few weeks ago. And then against Auburn, they only scored 23 points and skating by the Tigers 23-20. But they did amass over 500 yards of total offense in what might be the best defensive line in the country at Auburn, but they had issues in the red zone. They turned it over. Joe Burrow made a bad decision, bad pass for an interception in the red zone, and Auburn consistently made key third down stops in the red zone to force field goals. And so despite amassing over 500 yards against Auburn in total offense, LSU could muster just 23 points against the Tigers and winning by 3. But against, again, a top 10 defense in Florida, they ripped them up for 42 points, and a healthy and primed and ready to go Texas defense in week 2, they ripped them up for 45 points. Much more impressive for LSU on offense, considering who they faced, than Alabama. The numbers, of course, again, very similar, but consider Alabama's big non-conference game was against Duke, and it took them a while to get going in the first half, scoring 14 points in the second quarter before winning 42-3. South Carolina and Texas A&M would be the best defenses that Alabama has faced to date. Maybe Tennessee is. The Vols have played well against decent competition in recent weeks. Alabama ripped up Texas A&M for 47 points and another 47 spot against South Carolina in winning easily in both of those games. Now, of course, the key injury, the key situation involving the comparison of LSU and Alabama is one Tua Tagovailoa, who is not going to necessarily be starting and playing at full strength at 100%. He's going to be close to 3 weeks removed from the procedure on his right ankle, his non-plant leg, once he comes back against LSU, and that's what we all expect. Although it's not a given, Nick Saban has given good indication that Tagovailoa will be ready for the LSU Tigers in Tuscaloosa coming up this Saturday night. Otherwise, it's Mac Jones, and it's a completely different deal in comparing these two offenses. The LSU running game, I think it can be determined, has benefited greatly from the passing game, stretching the field downfield. In one, Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, who averaged just over 4 yards per carry last year, that number is close to 6 yards per carry this season. Yes, is he a better back? Is the offensive line maybe a little bit better than it was last season? I think most of it has to do with downfield passing and stretching the defense, getting the defense to play pass first, has really benefited the LSU rushing attack, and Edwards-Hilaire in particular at almost 6 yards per carry. The weapons on both sides are ridiculous, but Alabama's weapons are proven in big games, in big spots, time and time again, with the likes of Jerry Jeudy and Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs and on down the line. For LSU, I've been extremely impressed, as everyone has been, with Terrace Marshall and Jamar Chase, and on down the line, Justin Jefferson, of course, the most productive and experienced of the wide receivers, who was certainly a given coming into the season, and Marshall and Chase have taken off and shown us what they can do. They have come through in big games where Alabama has yet to be challenged. LSU has been challenged and has succeeded against Auburn, Florida, and Texas. Alabama has yet to be challenged. But I like the Alabama wide receivers, and I like the mobility, if he's healthy, of Tagovailoa. So check it off for Alabama as having the better offense against LSU. And, of course, Tua's injury and his health in this one would be the deciding factor. Would love to hear from you.